Armor has been a staple in the Legend of Zelda series for a little while now, and with Breath of the Wild released back in 2017, the guys at Nintendo doubled down, making armor one of the core features in the game. You're in the snowy mountains? Better put on some warm clothes. You're in an active volcano? This metal suit will somehow keep you safe. You want to swim up a frickin' waterfall? Well, use this Zora armor, and now you can. Tears of the Kingdom not only uses these armor sets, but in fact have added a lot more, with some even being needed to complete certain story quests. So it got me thinking, can I beat The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom naked? And yes, I know you can technically go straight to the depths, fight off against a bunch of bosses, and then take on Ganon right after the Sky Island, but what about everything else? The blizzards freezing Rito Village, the marbled rock addiction at Goron Village, the sludge destroying Zora's domain, and the sandstorms plaguing the Gerudo Desert. And of course, we need to make sure we get our hands on the legendary Master Sword. So, can I save them all while wearing, nothing at all?
All you need to do is...
Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Stupid sexy Flanders!
Let's find out. Right off the bat, we have a small problem. Unlike Breath of the Wild, we actually start the game wearing clothes. So, technically I failed the challenge before it even begun. But after Ganon wakes up, steals all my hearts, and then leaves me to die naked in a cave, we can finally start the run. The game does tempt us early on with the with a skirt, which I did get from the chest, but will never put on. The Great Sky Island is nothing too difficult to deal with, as we head straight to the Temple of Time while taking on some constructs along the way. After that, we meet Rairu's spirit, who tells us to complete some shrines on the island. There is an optional Flux construct boss here that I do take on and beat pretty easily, which is useful as it drops a decent item that can fuse with a weapon. Then we enter the snowy region of the island, and at this point you don't even have warm clothes to wear, as the game wants to teach you about cooking and their effects. So I cook some spicy peppers that gives us cold resistance, which lets us travel without freezing to death. We have completed all the shrines on the Great Sky Island, which then allows us to pray to the goddess statue and get an extra piece of heart. With 4 hearts, we have now enough health to open the giant door and head outside. Alright, I've never tried this, but what happens if we don't give Zelda the Master Sword here? Oh, the game just brings you back. We give Zelda the sword through time, and then jump up the Great Sky Island, landing safely in a lake, and then we make our way to the Lookout Landing by foot. After a short naked stroll through Hyrule, we get to Lookout Landing, and I head straight to my favorite character in the game.
Now where have you been?
We explain in great deal what exactly happened to us while searching under the castle, and, Josha, you really just gonna stare at me like that? I mean, take a picture. It will last longer. Pura tells us to meet with Captain Hoz to give him an update, and let's just say that she noticed that I wasn't wearing any clothes.
By the way, where are your clothes? You got a lot of people who look up to you, so while I appreciate you exercising your freedom, maybe show a little restraint.
Clearly she was not impressed. Oh well. So we make our way to Hyrule Castle, which, by the way, is just casually floating in the sky now, and then follow the path until we reach the gatehouse. With the power of ascent, we get to the top of the gatehouse, speak with Captain Hoz, and, find Zelda? And she's gone. I give Pura an update on what happened, so she gives us the paraglider and then has her mechanical arms forcefully grab our naked body, launching us from the Sky Tower in Lookout Landing. Now there's one last thing I need to do before we can take on Rito Village and save them from the blizzard, and that's get a horse. We sneak up on this magnificent blue horse, jump on its back, and then start rapidly pressing the L button until we tame it. With our newly acquired friend, we go start our journey to the snowy regions of Rito Village. Yeah, go back to sleep. I don't have time for you. On the way there, we do find a stable, which is useful as we can now register our horse here so we can never lose her. Please enter a name for your horse. There we go. From now on, you are called subscribe. Also, if you are enjoying the video, I'll be doing more Zelda stuff, so maybe, subscribe? Thank you. Now, I know I said before that the horse was the last thing I needed, but yeah, I lied. There is one more thing, or things? Well, not even things is the correct term, I guess. Wait, I'm sidetracking. First, I float this plank of wood on the water, then using the ascend ability, we can get through the rock and access another sky tower. We launch through the tower, and we make sure to land on this sky island. Then, we start the mini game and dive through all the rings, which activates a shrine, but more importantly, a warp point. And finally, we can collect some fairies on the island, and then when we run out, I can just use the warp point we made to come back and stock up. Back on the land we go, and this time we have no more distractions as we head straight to Gerudo village. Well, I may have charged into a Lizzophos with my horse Subscribe, but that was on the way, so technically it's not a distraction. The area is freezing, but some cooked spicy peppers is all we need to stay warm. We arrive only to find that the bridge to the village has been destroyed and there's no way to get across. But we ain't about to give up, so I drag my naked body through a snowstorm until we reach a nearby sky tower. I throw some fire fruit at the spiky thorns and watch it burn up and open us a path. Using the sky tower, we can now launch ourselves into the sky and use the paraglider to head towards the village. Although it was tight, one stamina wheel is exactly enough to make it to Gerudo village. We make our way up the stairs of Gerudo village, and this is where we meet Tulin for the first time. He's keen to check out the mysterious cloud as he believes it's the cause of the blizzard, but his dad isn't having it. Tulin isn't happy, flying off while I kind of just stand there awkwardly freezing my ass off. The closer you get to that cloud, the colder you'll get. You'll need to make extra precautions against a blizzard. I hear you loud and clear, my feathery friend. Okay, let's warm up. So if you thought eating cooked spicy peppers to stay warm was ridiculous, I would argue that fusing a ruby to your shield makes even less sense. But it works, and that's all that matters to me. With our new shield keeping us warm, we continue to travel into the freezing snow, climbing mountaintops until finally we find Tulin. Turns out that he's lost his bow and he needs our help to get it back. I shoot down the monster with my bow, allowing Tulin to get his back from the monster. More monsters come to fight us, but they're all light work and dealt with ease. Another Gerudo comes in, and for some reason this guy has, hair? Or is it feathers? You know what? My money is on that he's wearing a wig. He asks us to accompany Tulin to investigate the mysterious giant cloud above us, and we agree. With the help of Tulin's gusts of winds, we can make our way through the ruins in the sky. We glide with the paraglider, use Zono devices to float up with a balloon, and jump off boat sails, launching us into the sky. Eventually, the ruby on my shield is no longer enough to keep me warm, so we combine that with some cooked spicy peppers to give us extra cold resistance. We continue to jump from boat to boat until eventually we're high enough to drop down above the huge cloud, revealing a giant ship, the Wind Temple. This is probably one of the easiest temples in the game, and we can find all the locks pretty easily and use Tulin's gust ability to unlock them. Once we unlock all 5 of them, we can head to the main deck and open up to see what's inside. And well, yeah, it's the temple boss Colgera. In my first playthrough, I actually used arrows to break the ice in his body, only for people in the comment section to tell me that I should have actually dived through instead. In the end, well, I did both. It turns out that combining the 2 methods is probably the easiest way to deal with this boss. We get a piece of heart, as well as a clone of Tulin, who will now follow us around, all while saving the village from the intense blizzard that was wreaking havoc. Not a bad day in the office, if I do say so myself. Our next stop is to head to Death Mountain and investigate what's going on. And yes, I know, this is not the horse I registered, but it was easier to get a new one than to head back to a stable. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a Zelda playthrough without some distractions, and on our way to Death Mountain, we find the chasm closest to the Lost Woods, which we can dive down to the bottom. Here we follow the path, make a Zonai flying device before flying across the depths, reaching to a suspicious pillar. Using Ascend, we can go straight up to the Lost Woods, which is looking pretty gloomy. Because I'm not quite ready for the boss fight here, I activate the warp point of the shrine before leaving so I can come back when I'm ready. Back to the surface we go, and our next stop is Death Mountain. Riding our horse Subscribe, we make our way up the mountain while collecting a bunch of fireproof lizards along the way. And you guessed it, by cooking these lizards with some monster parts, we can get our hands on some fireproof elixirs, which somehow allow us to survive in areas that are as hot as an active volcano. Don't ask too many questions, it just does, okay? We finally make it to Goron City, and upon arrival, we notice that some of the Gorons have been addicted to this new product, Marbled Rock Roast. This is something that Yunobu has been supplying, and he is clearly not happy to see me.
What could you want?
As things seem to be very sus, we decide to follow Yunobu into a cave where I can see him speaking with Zelda. Not quite sure what she tells him, but he ain't happy and he starts charging at us like a maniac. Thankfully, he has less durability than a tree branch, and after 3 hits, he's defeated. The mask he is wearing breaks, falling off his face, and then all of a sudden, it seems that he's gained control of himself once more. We agree to team up to investigate the situation with Zelda, and we start by heading up to the peak of Death Mountain, riding some minecarts, while using Yunobu as a human cannonball. Well, technically a Goron cannonball is more accurate. Once we reach the top, a monster appears from the crater of Death Mountain, Moragia. Now this thing does look pretty intimidating, but it's actually a pretty simple boss fight. We use one of the flying Zono devices that I found close by and start blasting Yunobu into the weak points until it dies. Although it was easy, I really enjoyed this fight. Once it's been beaten, we jump straight down the Death Mountain crater until we reach the depths below to investigate. It's a fairly straightforward path, although I may have made myself a hover bike with some parts provided in the depths, allowing us to get to the temple faster. At this point, I've run out of fireproof elixirs, so it's a race against time, trying not to burn to death before I can activate the temple warp point. After eating all my food, we can activate the warp point, giving us quick access back to the temple.
Link, are you going somewhere?
Are you blind, Yunobu? I'm literally on fire right now, mate. We quickly collect some more fireproof lizards in the overworld before making elixirs and heading back to the temple. Okay, so I'm just gonna be honest with you all. I don't like this temple and its puzzles. So using the Zono parts lying around in this temple, I can make myself another hover bike. Using this bike, I can just fly to all the locks in the temple without riding the minecarts. Well, except one, where I have to use a hydrant to create multiple slabs of molten rock, which allows me to travel on the lava and then get underneath the building and then use the ascend ability, accessing the switch that Yunobu needs to roll into. With all the locks open, we can head to the central area where the temple boss, Marbled Gohma, is waiting. For this giant rock spider, I have Yunobu break its legs until it collapses, allowing me to climb up and start attacking the eye. In the second phase, it will surround us with exploding rocks, which you can just use the recall ability on, sending them straight back. In the second phase, I use Yunobu to roll up the side of the walls, hitting the Gohma right back down, allowing me to once again attack its eye until it's defeated. We have defeated the temple boss, get another piece of heart, and also we get a clone of Yunobu that can now follow us around for the rest of the run. This also cures the Goron citizens from their marbled rock addiction, which ends up saving Goron Village. Now I want to turn my attention to getting the blade that seals the darkness, or more commonly known as the Master Sword. But in order to do that, I need to make some preparations for a boss fight inside the Deku Tree, the Gloom Spawn, and Phantom Ganon. Yeah, the first time I ran into those things, I had a genuine panic attack. So off to Hyrule Castle we go, where we can find some of the most OP weapons in the game, like Royal Guard bows and Royal Guard claymores. Now that we've stocked up on some weapons, there's one more thing I want to grab. We jump down from the shrine at the castle, then glide our way through here, which will take us to the docks. Up the stairs we go, and we come across some gloom hands. Thankfully, all we need to do is stay out of reach by climbing on this wall, and eventually they will despawn and actually drop some dark clumps for us. A little further up we find a torch that has not been lit, so we throw a fire fruit, lighting it up, revealing a treasure chest. In this chest, we can find the best shield in the game, the Hylian shield. A shield passed down through the Hyrulean royal family, along with a legend of hero who wielded it. I mean, it can't be that special if you can buy it for 80 rupees at the bazaar in Ocarina of Time. With all my preparations complete, we head down to the Great Deku Tree, going inside the center of the tree and jumping straight down into the chasm to take on the cause of all this gloom. First we have the Gloom Hands, which if we use our Royal Guard bow, fused with some topazes, we can take them out with just 3 fused arrows. Now it's the Phantom Ganon that spawns, and I start landing headshots with plain arrows until he gets pretty close. Once he's close, I dodge his swings and respond with flurry rushes until we can finally finish it off and take it out. We go back up and speak with the Great Deku Tree, who can now place a marker on our map where I can find the Master Sword. Before we can even bother trying to get the Master Sword, we complete some more shrines to get enough Light of Blessings to upgrade our stamina wheel to 2 rows. With the location of the Master Sword now showing on our map, we head to the Sky Tower closest to it, and as we launch ourselves up, we can actually see the dragon. Hello there. We land on its back and start running up its body, collecting Light Dragon shards along the way. Fun fact, these things actually heal you when you fuse them to a weapon. Once we get to the head, we can see that the Master Sword has been impaled in the dragon's head. Right. Link gets hold of the Master Sword, and after some resistance from the Light Dragon, we can compose ourselves and pull it straight out of its skull. Yeah, even without clothes, this scene is still epic. With the Master Sword in our possession, we head to the next area that needs saving, Zora's Domain. Not wasting any time, I go straight to Mifa Court, where I can find everyone's favorite sexy fish, Prince Sidon. He tells us about the sludge that has been taking over Zora's domain, and of course, as expected, I need to save the day. Prince Sidon wants me to check up on his fiancée Yona, but before I do that, I head to Gerudo Lake. Once here, I need to fix this ancient slab for Giotto, who can translate it for us. But of course, instead of telling me what it says, he wants me to talk to Prince Sidon first, which basically means that I need to speak to his fiancée Yona. As she's at Zora's domain, we go straight there, only to speak to her and for her to tell us to go speak with Prince Sidon once more.
But if it pleases you, after you've met with Sidon, perhaps you could visit me at the infirmary on the floor above.
Whoa, Yuna. First of all, Sidon and I go way back. Plus, I've only got eyes for Princess Zelda, okay? I don't blame her though. Link looks pretty good without clothes. We speak with Prince Sidon one more time, which then allows us to go back to Giotto, who can now translate the ancient text for us. Basically, we need to stand on a fish-shaped sky island and shoot an arrow with a Zora's King scale attached through some floating rocks that make the shape of a teardrop. First things first, we need to meet with the Zora King, so we head to the pristine sanctum hidden behind a waterfall. Normally with the Zora's armor, you can just swim up the waterfalls and go straight to the king, but we can't wear clothes, so we just attach a rocket to our shield and fly straight up. He gives us 5 king scales, and our next stop is a sky island shaped like a fish. Using our trusty paraglider, we can reach the giant fish island, and by standing in the right spot, we see some rocks forming a teardrop, which means all we need to do is shoot an arrow with a king scale to reveal a secret pillar of light back on the surface for us to investigate. We head back to Prince Sidon to give him an update, and we get ambushed by a mini-boss, Sludge Light. With the help of Sidon's water abilities, we can defeat this boss pretty easily and then head to the suspicious pillar of light. He jumps in and starts swimming rapidly in a circle, creating a whirlpool that allows us to jump straight down into. We arrive to the ancient Zora waterworks, and to save time, I just put another rocket on my shield and fly straight up to activate the switch within. This creates a huge waterfall that will clearly lead us to the water temple and the cause of all this sludge.
Link, if you wear the Zora armor, you can climb the waterfall as well.
Thanks for that, Sidon. Way to rub it in, mate. Okay, so I first tried to create a simple hot air balloon with some batteries, and at first I thought it was going to work, but the balloon will despawn after some time and we go crashing down. Plan B was to create a 6-fan hovercraft with a bunch of batteries, as this will never despawn, but it can run out of juice. With the help of large zonai charges, we can have more than enough battery power to slowly but surely reach the top of the Wellspring Island. At this point, we can pretty easily travel across the Sky Islands here with no real issues at all, which is super fun to do with the moon physics, by the way. There is just one more waterfall that we need to scale, so for this we go to the side platforms that have sludge running through them, and thanks to the moon physics, it's actually pretty simple to climb up the side of the temple until we can reach an area that we can ascend through, which will actually take us into one of the puzzle rooms that have a lock in it. Then we just keep backtracking until we reach the main area of the temple. Out of all the temples in this game, the water temple is my favorite. This is mainly because the moon physics are fun to play in and the puzzles are not tedious to complete. I will say that the only downside to this temple is that it's the shortest in the game, which does kind of suck. And with the help of the rocket shield, we can skip any parts that require us to use the Zora armor to swim up waterfalls. Once all the switches have been activated, we can wash away all the sludge in the center of the temple, which then reveals the culprit of it all, Muktarok. This is a very straightforward boss where all you have to do is use Sidon's Sage ability to wash away the Muktarok when it's in the sludge shark form, and then start attacking it when it's exposed. The second phase is exactly the same, only this time the floor is covered in sludge, so it's a little trickier to move around. But we still focus on hitting the sludge shark with Sidon's water attacks to expose the boss, get a few hits on it, and then once it tries to run, we jump with the moon physics and we can land some hits with our bows in slow motion, stunning it. Once it's stunned, we can go all out and attack it until it's defeated. We grab the piece of heart to increase our health. Prince Sidon then makes a clone of himself that will join us for the rest of the adventure, and of course, Zora's domain has now been saved from all the sludge that was polluting it. You're welcome. The last region we need to visit is Gerudo Town, which is being overrun with Gibdos and intense sandstorms. All the Gerudo have locked themselves in a shelter, and because men are not allowed in, we need to head down this well, I think it's a well, and keep walking until we reach the end. From here, we can just ascend up, and now we're in the shelter. And let's just say, I don't exactly get a warm welcome from the guards here. Thankfully, the Gerudo captain remembers me from the last game and grants me a pass, or does she?
The attire you're wearing is not not acceptable. Please put on a bit more before coming into town.
Thankfully, she doesn't kick me out and we can leave the town looking for the Chief Riju. Not far from the town, we can find her at the ruins practicing her lightning technique. We team up together and now we can use her lightning attack when we shoot with our arrows. One of her guards approach us and tell us that a swarm of Gibdos have been attacking Karakara Bazaar and they need my help to take them out. Riju and Link both arrive and can start frying the Gibdos with our electric attacks. We turn our attention to the purplish pink hives as we can see that the Gibdos are coming from there, so we blow that up with Riju's lightning, stopping them from spawning and saving the bazaar. But things are about to get worse.
That's bad. Real bad. Gerudo town is in danger. Uliara, we need to get back now. Link, we're going on ahead. I'll meet you in town.
Sounds like a plan. I'll head over soon. Okay, Riju, here I come to save the day. Hey, Vo, you just can't walk around like that. Did you guys just lock me up? I'm out of here. Wait, are you serious? Again?
You just don't learn, do you? I don't show mercy to anyone who breaks the rules, chief's guest or not.
That's it, I'm out. Also, thanks to you, Kata, Gerudo Town is going to be destroyed. I hope you're happy. Also, if there was a way to actually do this without clothes, please let me know, because I'm curious. Normally at this point, we'd need to head to Hyrule Castle and follow the fake Zelda around, then fight the Phantom Ganon bosses. But because we did not complete the Lightning Temple, this will not happen. The other thing you're supposed to do is put on a special armor set and then offer a Zono charge to a statue at the Zono ruins in the Faron region, and once you do this will summon a bunch of lightning, clearing out the sky above us, allowing us to find the hidden 5th sage Minoru. But we can't locate Minoru as we can't wear any clothes, triggering this quest. Or can we? We launch ourselves from the nearest sky tower to the clouds above and land on a nearby sky island. I attach some rockets to this box platform and start launching us even higher into the sky. We get a couple more rockets out and we launch ourselves into the direction of the dark and foggy clouds called the Thunderhead Isles. We unequip our metal-based weapons to avoid any lightning, and then we use our paraglider to land on one of the sky islands within. And yeah, I can't see anything, but I'm not a quitter. So after a painful amount of running around without being able to see anything, we actually find the entrance to what we're looking for. Now, I know that we do need 10 hearts to open the door, but I just wanted to see if my fairy would come out if we died this way. Okay, so apparently fairies don't come out when you try to open a door. Now, I could go and grind some more shrines, but I'm kind of lazy and I get sidetracked very easily. So instead, I visit this creepy looking statue who will buy my stamina vessels for 100 rupees and then sell me hearts back for 120 rupees. With this shortcut, we can quickly get 10 hearts, and because there was a shrine close to the door, we can simply warp straight back up and start pushing the door again. This time we survive on 1/4 of a heart, but yeah, that was expected. Behind the door we can find a construct head, which we can grab, and then we just follow the green laser into the direction it wants to go. We place it on the pedestal, which makes the statue rise from the ground, creating a new path for us to follow. Eventually we end up on an elevator-like platform, which then takes us all the way down to the depths, where we can find the spot that we need to place the head. All that we need to do now is recover the missing body parts that are hidden nearby, and one by one we can find them and we can place them in. Once Link places the last body part, Minoru's body is now complete and she can travel with us. Also, we can climb on her body and have her fight for us, although this really isn't that great if I'm being honest, and I prefer to jump off and fight the monsters myself. After a short stroll, we can reach the spirit temple with Minoru, and we cross the gloomy floor towards a secret stone, and to no one's surprise, this happens. The Sea's Construct boss challenges us to a boxing match, and the plan is to block its attacks and then counter with a combination of punches so it can fly back and hit the barbed wire ropes. In the next phase, it starts flying around, so we keep moving around to avoid its attacks before zapping it with a shock emitter and then landing some more punches to push it back and eventually get the win. We grab the final piece of heart of the game and collect Mineru's secret stone from the temple. Like the other sages, she can now be called upon when needed for the rest of the adventure. Ganon is firmly on my mind, but before I pay him a visit, I stock up on a bunch of mighty bananas, as these things when cooked give Link a huge attack buff, which will be useful. And finally, the time has come. We jump down Hyrule Castle Chasm and we start making our way to Ganondorf. Along the way there is a Lionel, which I do kill, as it has a triple shot Savage Lionel bow, which will come in handy for the upcoming fights. At long last, we reach the end where we can jump off and dive onto the final battlefield. Wave after wave, we clear through the monsters without too much trouble, and with the help of the sages, we take them all out. And because we didn't complete the lightning temple, we need to also take on Queen Gidbo. Now, although I don't have Riju's lightning abilities with my bow, I'm able to improvise and I start shooting it with Dazzle Fruits fused to my arrows, doing solid damage. Once it's done, we go all out and we finish off the first phase. In the second phase, I use my rocket shield to fly up and then start shooting it with topazes, and oh my god, this does so much more damage than Dazzle Fruits. I can literally kill it in one round of bullet time using topaz fused arrows. The other boss I need to beat is the Phantom Ganons that spawn, but once again, I rocket shield and I start dropping bomb arrows, taking them out in the first phase. In the next phase, I do the same thing, only this time I use the last of my topazes, getting a very comfortable win. This is it, the final boss. We reach Ganon, who has now returned into his human form, and he steps down to take us on. I start the fight by rocket shielding and doing insane damage with a triple shot bow fused with Gidbo bones. After a few shots, Ganon is already below half his health. To finish him off, I dodge his jump attack, making him vulnerable, and then I start swinging with my sword, taking him out in the first phase. He then unleashes his full power, but even so, he isn't ready for what's about to happen next. I use another rocket shield to get back into bullet time, and then I start destroying him again with triple shot Gidbo fused arrows. In the next phase, I make some more rocket shields on the fly, and then I continue with the same strat, which is pretty broken, I might add. Link can finish him off with one last headshot with the triple shot bow, taking him out once and for all. Ganon can't handle defeat well, so he eats his secret stone, turning himself into a dragon, but this fight is pretty much free. After defeating the gloom spots all over the dragon's body, we can glide straight to that thing's head and crush the secret stone now that it's exposed. Link then delivers one final blow with a master sword, taking him out once and for all. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. I've beaten The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom naked. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.